No.
Okay, so we have day 2 of 4.2. Now, yesterday your assignment did include some problems where you needed the conjugate, and I said just get as far as you can. Guys, anytime that happens and we run out of time, work on the assignment as long as you can, and we'll come back to the other stuff, okay? You can always read in the textbook. It would have showed you a couple of examples. You could try to figure it out yourself, but just read as far as you can, and we'll come back to it, okay? I'm never going to not lecture on something unless it's like what I want you to stretch your brain on. Okay, so it says use complex conjugates to write a quotient in standard form. Now, the only reason this is a complex conjugate because it has a complex number, yes? If you want to say conjugate, I have this every year. I have people go, complex conjugate. Like every single time they want a conjugate, you are better off just saying conjugate, okay? Do not say, you'll look stupid if you're sitting there yelling complex conjugate when it's not a complex number, okay? So it's one of those things, if you want to just say conjugate, we're all good. Kale, share. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Kale.
we're going to use the complex conjugate to get this I out of a denominator. Can I leave a square root or any kind of radical in the denominator?
Not in the denominator.
Not in the denominator. I also cannot leave an imaginary number in the denominator. Not allowed. Okay, so I need to think of this, and the first thing I'm going to do is put parentheses around this so I remember it as one thing. And maybe that's something that you guys, the textbook doesn't do it, but would it be a good idea for you to do it when you write on your paper so you remember? Okay, so in order to get rid of that imaginary number, I can use the conjugate because that's the whole point of the conjugate, correct? To get rid of what you don't want. So what is the conjugate of 1 minus I?
1 plus I.
1 plus I. And if we multiply the denominator by 1 plus I, we also have to multiply the numerator. Because 1 plus I over 1 plus I is really just 1, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
And 1 is the multiplicative identity. I'm using all these big words for you. And so it doesn't change the problem. So on the numerator, I need to distribute it in, yes? So I get 3i plus 3i squared.
Won't the square get rid of the I?
Well, it will. It will, yes. Okay. So in the denominator, when I FOIL that out, the middle term is always going to zero out, yes? So it's going to be the first term squared minus the square of the second. And Isaiah said we need to we need to simplify the I squareds, yes? And anything over a power of 1 needs to be taken care of. Everyone understand me? Okay, so if it's I cubed, you know that's negative I. So you just need to, anything over the first degree needs to be taken care of. You can't leave anything over a first degree. Got it, everyone? Okay, so this squared right here makes this not positive 3, but negative 3. And it also has to move into the front, doesn't it? Because it has to be in standard form. So I get negative 3 plus 3i. And this right here is what?
Negative 1.
It's negative 1, so that's
1.
plus 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2.
This class is hard.
I know.
1 plus 1 is 2.
You can count on one hand. Okay, so again, the point of the conjugate is to move what you don't want in the equation somewhere else, yes? Because I didn't get rid of this imaginary number, did I?
No.
I just moved it to the numerator so I could deal with it in another way. Okay, so I have 6 minus 7i over 1 minus 2i. So it says write the quotient in standard form. Okay. Oh, shoot. Can I go back here, please? Okay, we had negative. I don't like how when I go back and forth, I lose what I had written.
Sorry.
Okay. So when we were here, we had negative 3 plus 3i over 2. Okay, that's not in standard form, is it?
You have to put them both.
I've got to split it up, don't I? You guys should have caught me on that one. So 3/2 plus 3/2. And remember, the I has to come out. It can't be in the fraction. Remember doing that last year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so everything needs, I don't have to tell you to write it in standard form. You should just know to do that, correct?
What if I did it all without writing standard form? I did it the first way.
Then do it again.
Just go back and finish it out.
I already submitted it.
You can.
Okay, it's fine, Ethan. It's fine that you submitted it because it is a completion grade, yes?
Oh, okay.
But you need to go back and do it so you remember to do it.
Completion grade?
It always is
It
just
always has been.
Well, Evan doesn't do it, so
Yeah,
you
Evan has never completed it.
Okay.
He never knew.
So, I need to multiply by the what, guys?
By
The conjugate. Not by the reciprocal.
Conjugate.
Okay, what is the conjugate of it?
1 plus 2i.
So 1 plus 2i. And 1 plus 2i. And what should I probably do to both the numerator and denominator? Parenthesize them? I like that. Okay, if you didn't, you'd probably just distribute like the negative 2i, and that's not what's supposed to happen, is it? Okay, so you multiply it all out, and I'll multiply it all out, and we better end up at the same spot, right?
Done. No. Done.
Just in case I mess up.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Evan, shut up. Caleb.
Okay, gentlemen, kindness.
What is that?
The whole world does not need to hear you guys be mean to each other.
Shit's being recorded.
And the whole world.
So, Ethan, did you go back and look in the book to see what was going on, or did you just remember kind of doing the conjugate thing?
I kind of just remembered it.
Good.
I stared at it for about 5 minutes and like, wait a second. And it didn't.
Awesome.
No, you didn't.
That's code for just looking at the calc chat and writing it
I actually forgot about count chat.
down. You forgot about calc chat, but not how to divide.
Hey, I would rather him do that.
No, I'd rather not do.
Homework.
Yep.
You don't do it, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so
Roasted.
you should have got 20 plus 5i over 5, yes? And then when you break that up to standard form, you get 4 plus I.
Yep.
Y'all get 4 plus I?
Okay, lesson over.
Ooh. I hope.
It's just,
Okay, so what do I have to do here?
yeah.
Conjugate.
Well, they are conjugates of each other, but that's not my biggest problem. What are these? They're fractions, yes?
Yeah.
What am I doing with them?
Adding.
Adding them, so I have to always have what?
Common denominator.
Common denominators. So Isaiah goes, hey, wait a second, they're conjugates of each other. Does everyone see that? That's pretty nice, right? I personally, if they're conjugates of each other, it makes it amazing. You multiply one by the other and you're good, right? If they're not conjugates of each other, I simplify them both individually and then add them. Does that make sense? So since they're conjugates of each other, my whole denominator...
It changed.
I know, because I have to push the pin on and I forget. My common denominator is just going to be 2 plus I times what? 2 minus I. So what do I need to multiply 2I by?
2 minus I.
2 minus I. And what do I need to multiply 5 by?
2 plus I.
2 plus I. So do it.
How do you figure that one out?
He's brilliant.
I just remembered from last year, you know.
I was staring at
Ethan taught me the ways.
it.
Jedi math ways.
Holy, we did that pretty quick.
Ethan did not learn the Jedi math ways.
No, I did not.
He taught Kelvin, but he didn't understand. You're right.
You think?
Okay, so
I am
How-
complete grade here.
how did this problem go?
I got it
Right. Nope.
No? What happened, Garrett?
I do not know.
Okay, so when you multiplied 2i times 2 minus i, did you get 4i plus 2i, minus 2i squared?
Nope.
What did you get?
I got 4i minus I.
What did you do, Garrett? What didn't you do? You didn't distribute correctly,
Yeah.
did you? Okay, so do we have to remember all that fun math stuff we learned in 7th grade?
Totally.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, guys, this is the story, and it's actually in the calc book, and it should be in this book as well. The pre-calc isn't hard. It's remembering all your algebra. Okay, so last year we worked really hard on our basic algebra. Do we need to continue to work really hard on our basic algebra?
No.
Yes. Okay. So, Garrett figured out where he made a mistake. Who else didn't quite get there? Who else did not get quite there? Everyone else okay?
Ethan now knows that.
What, Kelly?
I'm just really good at math, sorry.
Good at math.
Oh, you're not bad.
No, the math is good.
Okay. So, now, are these conjugates of each other?
They are not.
They are not. Okay. So I do have a choice. I could multiply the left by 4 minus I and the right by I. Yes? Or could I conjugate the left one, conjugate the right one, and then put them together?
Yeah.
Yes. Because then they would have whole numbers to find common denominators with.
Whatever. Fuck.
So what we're going to do is actually do this problem both ways. I'm going to show you both ways how to do this problem. I don't care which one you do. I want you to do the one that makes sense to you and the one you're going to do efficiently and accurately, just like most things in here. So, do you want to go with multiplying the left by the right first, or you want to conjugate the left, the right? Which method do you want to do first?
I want to do all of them at once.
Yes. Oh, you guys are so... Okay, let's go with... I'll go with one I like to do. Okay, so I'm going to just focus on this and focus on this. That's it, individually. So the conjugate here would be negative I, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put negative I on both. So I get negative I minus I squared over negative I squared. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Minus. And over here, my conjugate would be what?
4 plus I.
4 plus I. And I get kind of lazy, guys. I don't write it both places. I just put it on this out in the center. Okay, but I got to remember it's quantity, yes? So I get 12 plus 3i. And I get 16 minus I squared. Tell me if I'm wrong. But I think that's what I get. Everyone following until now? 2 complete problems separate of each other right now. Okay, so on the left-hand side, negative I squared is just 1. Okay, so I just get negative I minus, not minus, how about plus 1? How's it get plus 1?
Because
Negative I squared. So if I put it in standard form, it's going to be 1 minus I
Over 1.
over 1. Okay. And then over here, this negative I squared becomes a
positive.
plus 1. So I have minus 12 plus 3i over 17. So now my common denominator is what? 17. So I have 17. And so I have to multiply this whole thing by 17 and this whole thing by negative 1, yes? Okay, so I get 17 minus 17i minus 12 minus 3i. See, I'm not thinking of the whole problem. I'm like just taking steps, right? I'm not looking at the problem and go, oh, the answer's 6. No, that's silly. Okay, so I have 17 minus 12 is what?
Yes,
5. So I have 5 over 17.
yeah.
And then I have negative 17 and negative 3. So that's going to be a negative what? 20 over 17 I. Hey, gentlemen. So that's the answer I got. So if I do it the other method, I should get exactly the same answer also, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to erase my doodles right here. So this one we're going to just go straight. I'll get a different color. Will that help?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go straight for just getting common denominators. So I'm going to multiply the left by the right. So I'm going to have I times 4 minus I as my common denominator. Kale, you're being awfully distracting. Hurry up.
He's missing Austin right now.
Okay, so I need to multiply the left by 4 minus I, yes? And I need to multiply the right by what? I. And this is a negative 3. Yes? Okay, so over here, I'm going to get 4 plus 4I minus I squared. And then minus 3I from here. You guys can't see me imaginary. Okay, so let's see. In the bottom, I have 4I minus I squared. Okay, well, this negative I squared becomes what?
1.
Plus 1.
Why are there so many eyes?
Okay, so that's plus 1, yes?
Like them.
Too bad.
And we should not get 0.
No.
Did I do something wrong?
How are you getting 0?
Watch. Because I have 4I minus I is 3, and 3I minus 3I is what? Oh, wait, we're not done. Never mind. Okay, so I have 4I minus I is 3I, yes. Minus 3I is what? 0. And then 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay. Then this becomes positive 1, yes. So I have 1 plus 4I. Can I stop there?
No,
No. Why? What's wrong with this?
you have an imaginary
I have-
number in the denominator.
Right, so I have to do what now?
You have to make it not like that.
Right. And we just call that conjugating. So we have 1, what?
Minus 4.
1 minus 4I.
So 5
So this is going to be 5I, yes?
Yeah.
Minus 20I for the numerators.
Yeah.
And for the denominators, I'm going to get 1 minus 16I squared, which becomes a plus 16, which becomes what?
17.
And did I get the same answer?
Yeah.
Can you see why I like the red better than the blue?
It's a lot quicker.
Okay, the blue, if I'm not, it wasn't too bad, but I got here and I'd done so much work, I wanted to stop. But can I stop?
Yeah,
No.
Must carry on.
If I do this method, I don't think it was any shorter, but since I got whole numbers in my denominator first, when I'm done, what? I'm done. I do not care which method you do. I think the book shows you the blue. I think the red is more efficient, and I really, if they're not conjugates of each other, I usually always do the red. Unless for some reason it would have to be a special reason. Questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so solve the quadratic equation. So that means I have to factor, yes?
Yeah.
Or something other than that. Or quadratic formula, right?
Review now?
Okay, yes, this is all review, except, well, it's all been review. Well, I have x squared plus 4. Well, I could factor, but I really don't need to factor, right?
No, you can just subtract it.
I can subtract the 4
Subtract the 4 and square it.
and take the square root,
Or
which is a non-real solution, right?
Would be square root
It's going to square root, so it has to be plus and
minus
minus
2
to
times square root of
I.
2i. Where'd the I come from?
Because
The negative.
That negative 1, right? Now again, if I gave you this and asked for the factor, wouldn't these factors be x plus 2i and x minus 2i?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have factored that if we remembered about the I, but it's easier just to subtract it over and take the square root, isn't it? Biggest part about square root is you guys have to remember the what?
Plus or minus.
The plus or minus.
or the I.
Oh yeah, the I, but I usually get positive 2i.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. I got a factor, yes? 3x squared minus 2x plus 5.
You can't factor regularly
Because we need the factors of 15 to add to 2, and they don't add to 2, do they? So what do I have to use?
quadratic.
Wait.
Quadratic formula. Now, factors of 15 could subtract to 2, but not add to 2, could they?
No.
Okay, you guys want me to switch colors, or is blue? Okay,
We need to use fuchsia.
fuchsia? I got it on there. Well, kind of fuchsia. I got purple. Okay, so it's negative b, right?
Yeah.
So 2 plus or minus
the square root.
b squared. So that'd be 4.
Yeah.
Minus 4 times a times c. So that, what, 15? All over 2a. So 6. So in here, we've got 60. So negative 56.
Yeah.
Is that right? So I have 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 56 over 6. But do I have any perfect squares in 56? What times what's 56?
7
7 times 8,
7 times 8,
which is 4 times.
which is 4 times 2. So I have 4 as a perfect square, yes? So I have 2 plus or minus 2i. Where'd the I come from?
The negative.
The negative. And then we still have in there a 2 and a 7. So the square root of what?
27.
Good job.
2 times 7 is
14.
14 over 6. But this isn't in standard form, is it?
No.
Yes.
No. So I have 2 over 6.
So 1/3.
Yes. Plus or minus 2 square root of 14 over 6i. But then I do need to reduce, yes. To 1/3 plus or minus the square root of 14 over 3.
Yes.
I.
Yes.
Because 2 and 6 reduce.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You went way too fast.
I'm sorry. Thought I was going slow.
You went way too slow.
I thought I was going slow enough. Ethan, where'd I lose you?
Okay.
At the beginning.
At the beginning. Okay. What is the quadratic formula, guys?
Yes.
Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Okay, we've got to remember it, right? It has to be is available to us as factoring. Okay? And writing it every single step out, is that going to take you forever to do? Yeah. That's why I didn't write every single step out. Because it would absolutely take forever. Is that what you needed, Ethan? Where did you get this? Okay. So then 4 times 15 is 60. Minus 4 would be 56. so negative 56. Then 56 is 7 times 8 and 4 times 2. So I can take the square root of 4, which is 2. And I'm left with 2 and 7, which is 14.
That's where you
The
make
four-
the
Okay.
difference down.
And 2. Where'd you get the 4 and 2?
8.
Factors of 8 is 4
Oh.
and 2.
Factors of 8 is 4 and 2.
So 7 and 8, and then you find the factors of 8. Okay.
Now, if I got 7 and 13, would I go any further?
No.
No, because there's no perfect square. No, there's a perfect square in 8. That's why I had to keep going. So you good now, Ethan?
Yep.
Everyone else good?
Yeah.
Okay, simplify the complex number. Write it in standard form. Okay, remember our fractional exponents? Yes? So I'm going to use one. What is the fractional exponent for the square root?
1/2.
1/2. So I have negative 2 to the 1/2 to the what?
6.
6. Well, when I take a power to a power, what do I do?
Multiply it.
Multiply it. So half of 6 is
3.
3. So I have negative 2 to the third, which is what?
8. Negative 8.
Negative 8.
That was easy.
It is more complicated without the fractional exponent. It really is. Okay? I don't think in the book, if you looked at the example, they would use the fractional exponent. I think that makes it harder. If you can make a radical into a fractional exponent, you can do so much more with it quicker. Your brain doesn't have to like warp. Okay, so what's 2i cubed?
8 minus I. Or 8 and the I would be negative I though.
8 would be
Negative.
I cubed. Yes, we're going to step, but yes, you're right.
Negative.
And I cubed is negative I.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
So it would be
So I have
negative
1 over negative 8i. Can I leave it that way?
Nope.
I have to multiply by what?
8 out.
The conjugate. So do you want to do a negative I or do you want to do a positive I?
Positive.
Positive I. Okay, so I and I. So I have I over negative 8 times I squared. And I squared is,
One.
nope,
Negative.
negative 1.
So that would just be 8.
So you get I over 8. But that's not in standard form.
Multiply 8 now.
No.
0 plus 1 over 8.
I would just be okay with 1/8 I.
You went into the zone we cannot see.
Oh, I went into the zone. I'm sorry. So I over 8, yes. And I would be happy. You can put 0 plus 1/8 I, but I at least want to see 1/8 I. Got it?
So you kick the I out then.
Yes, the I has to be out of that. Yeah, remind me when I get into the
Into
the no man's zone.
Yes.
No
The
man's
Bermuda
land.
Triangle.
Maybe
No
buy
man's
it.
land.
The death.
No, Callie, you buy it.
Shh.
Sorry, forgot the video. I just like
Chill. That's it.
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay,